You are seeing this video now because there are messages for you. Plus, fear or intuition, how to know the difference. Hi, I'm Devon Duerr, and I say a prayer of protection and intention around the messages in this video so they find you when they are meant for you. Right now, we are doing this live, so if you're watching it now, there are messages for you. But if you watch this later, anytime, whether it's tomorrow, later tonight, or a year from now, maybe even 10 years from now, your spiritual team has made sure this video came in front of you to help you. All right, so I've got my my live going in the background there. Sorry about that. But yeah, your spiritual team, I work with the angels, the highest vibrational angels. I always set the intention and a prayer protection, and my own spiritual team that will then work with your spiritual team and ensure that you see this video at the time that you're meant to. Just remember that if there are messages in here that don't resonate with you, simply leave them behind. They're not for you. This is a group message, but there is something here if you're seeing this message. Plus, I have some tools to help you figure out the difference between fear and intuition. If you are watching this live, I'd love to see you in the live chat. Please say hello if you want to share where you're tuning in from. If you're watching this later, I'd love to hear in the comments too below this video. One quick reminder, and I will be saying this again to remind those coming in late, I love getting questions from you. So if you'd like to put a question in the live chat for me, I will get to that today. Or you can also put it in the comment section below. I want to hear what other topics would you like me to talk about? Because one of the things I love to do is empower you to use your own divine gifts to connect with your angels, your spiritual team, your passed away loved ones. So I love answering your questions about that. And it's actually easier if you write. If you're watching this later, make sure to write the questions in the comments below this video if you want it for future videos, because the live chat is a little harder to go through and find those questions. But if you want your question answered now, I'd love to hear from you. Hi, Cascla. Thanks for being here. Hi, Mary. So great to see everybody. Happy Monday. So like I said, these messages are evergreen. They're meant for you anytime you come across them. But at the time I am recording these messages, we have a huge full moon happening tomorrow. It's actually an eclipse in Pisces, and this watery energy has already hit. So let me know too in the comments, how was your weekend? Have you been feeling this full moon that's going to be apexing tomorrow night here in the US? Because I'd love to hear how it's affecting you. You know, you don't have to know anything about astrology to use the energy of the moon. It's this huge reminder in the sky to set intentions, to release things that are no longer serving you, to review and evaluate what's going on in your life right now. So when I look at a full moon, this big, big, bright, amazing being in the sky, I think of, okay, what is it revealing to me? So, the other thing I like to remind you again, if you don't know anything about astrology or you're kind of new to the spiritual work, the thing about what the full moon does is it affects the tides. It affects the ocean tides. It affects the way plants grow. And our body is so full of water, is so much it is composed of water that it's only natural that we would feel the the moon, the way that the tides are affected, the way animals and everybody's affected. I've said this in past videos, but go talk to any nurse in a hospital or any school teacher, and they always know when the full moons are based on the people coming into the hospital, the way they're behaving, or the way the kids are bouncing off the walls. But then we also have the new moon that happens, which is the dark moon. It's where you can't see it in the sky because it's the time of new beginnings. And when you plant a seed, you put it under the soil and you know it's there, but you can't see anything yet. You don't know what's going to manifest out of that seed exactly. You might have an idea, like you planted a tomato seed, but do you know exactly how many tomatoes it's going to grow? You don't, but you're planting the seed and you're trusting that it will grow. And usually by the time you get to that full moon, 2 to 2.5 weeks later, there you can see a little sprout there. You can begin to see the manifestations. So just a little reminder there about the lunar cycles that you don't have to know anything about astrology to take advantage of it. However, with this eclipse energy, I really would encourage you to also set intentions. It's not just about releasing things. It's about why are you releasing things, getting behind why you are wanting to let go of something. Why is something coming to an end? That's another thing that happens with eclipses is things come to an end to bring in new beginnings. So you might want to go back and look at past eclipses if you're interested to see what came to an end and then what was allowed to come in because that came to an end. So we're going to be asked to look at silver linings with those things. Hi, everybody in the chat. I'm going to take a quick pause here to say hello to everybody because I love getting to connect with you this way. Oh, I popped out my chat. So where did it go? There it is. But hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Like I said, I would love to answer your questions in the chat or later in the comments. I do read every comment and every comment below the video later and in the chat. So thank you for doing it. I appreciate it. I appreciate you letting me know you're here. Hello, Sharon from Beaver Creek, Ohio. Hello, Anita. Hello, Mary. I said hello earlier. I'm glad to see you. I used to keep my guardian angel very busy. I'm a bit more careful nowadays. I love that. That's so great. Yes, Andrea. Hi. Yes. Oh, Mary's also. Oh, we've got 2 people in San Antonio. Wow, that's great. Um, Sharon says, I transplanted here in 87 at the Patterson Air Force and decided to retire here. Yes, we have a lot of amazing retired military here in San Antonio who end up coming back. I was born and raised here. I love it. But my parents are not originally from here. My dad was born in San Francisco, my mom in in Pennsylvania. So they kind of came together in the middle here, but I love it. Definitely love being a Texan here. But yeah, let's jump back into these messages. If you are just tuning in, I mentioned that towards the end of these angel messages, I will be going over fear or intuition. How to know the difference? What are some tools? And I'd also love to hear that from you as well. And I do. I'm going to share these angel messages with you, but I do have journaling prompts this time. Just a quick reminder, I do lives on Mondays and Wednesdays. Mondays are meant to be first and foremost the messages that are meant for you at the time you come across them. So anytime you come across them, but I want to start the week this way because I feel like it's a really high vibrational way to start these. And then you can always come back at the end of the week and listen again and see what you're being guided to, but you can come back anytime you want. And then I am going to add the journaling prompts, but on Wednesday mornings, which this Wednesday I'll be doing it at 10 a.m. Central. So that's 11 Eastern, or that's also 8 a.m. Pacific. We're going to be doing a more casual coffee chat where we're chatting. I will have a topic. Last week's topic was if you wake up between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., what to do, and the number 333, which, by the way, I am working on an angel number series. And I'd love to hear if you have any questions about angel numbers. I already have worked directly with the angels to talk to them about what these numbers mean to me. But I'm going to go into a series about how you can discover even more meaning. And I'd love to hear any questions you have about angel numbers. And ideally, if you could put it in the comment section below the video instead of in the chat, just so it's easier to find, that would be great too. Just a little prompt there. We're going to get to the end. I'm going to give you some journaling prompts, but that's a lot of the things that we're doing in the lives on Wednesday mornings is we are actively journaling with our angels together. So please, you're more than welcome to journal with me. You don't have to be there live to do it. It will be recorded. I do have my custom journal that I use. It's available on Amazon with a 4-part webinar. It's called Book of Evidence, Proof Your Angels Are With You. It has all these amazing custom templates in here to help you deepen your connection with the angels, to track your intuitive signs. So you can use any journal you want, but just so you know that is the journal that I use. And I am so excited that I just shipped off a whole bunch of new inventory to Amazon on Friday. It is the best feeling to know that my journals are going to meet the people that they're meant to meet. I bless every journal, and I always say a blessing to whoever the journal crosses. So even like the Amazon truck driver that's carrying it to the end user, I put Reiki energy into it. I am a certified Reiki master, so I put Reiki into the journals, into the box, and I say a blessing around it because it makes my heart so happy to know it will receive the end user there. So now what I want to also encourage you to do is start using it. So that's why I'm going to give you these journaling prompts. But again, you can use any journal you want. I just encourage you to put it all in one place. We will get more into that as we go. I just want to check one more time in the comments to see who else is here. Hello, everybody. Talking about who's from Texas here. Hi, JC. Woke up for at least 4 days in a row at 5:55. Wow. This morning was 2:22, feeling very guided. Definitely trust that. I love that. Yes, when I see those numbers like that, they always go in my journal. That's what I was saying. I have the intuition tracker in this journal. It's all in one place so that you can easily go back and find it. But then there's like extra dotted pages and there's all kinds of things. But let's get into these angel messages more because I really want to hear from you about how you're doing. If you haven't already, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps my channel grow and me bring you more of this guidance and message, and hit that like and share button if these messages resonate with you. I really appreciate it. But let's get into these angel messages by starting off with a pocket affirmation. A pocket affirmation is short and sweet and easy to carry in your pocket all day long. And I do customize them to the angel messages that you are about to hear. Like I said, if you're seeing this video right now, there are messages for you. It doesn't matter when you're seeing it. And these pocket affirmations will help you open up and embrace this guidance and help you understand what your spiritual team is trying to tell you with the messages in this video. So I would like to invite you to write in the comments below this video, my willpower is strong. That's the first pocket affirmation we have for these messages. My willpower is strong. You are going to see why we are talking about that right now. But I want to point out that one of the things that I'm always careful to do with the pocket affirmations is make them in present tense, because we're not waiting to be strong. We are saying, we are affirming right now, I am strong. And willpower is going to be involved with these messages that are coming up for you. So again, just allow whatever comes to mind first to be noted. I do encourage you to grab a journal and write down anything that resonates with you right now so you can use that gift of hindsight to come back. You don't have to interpret it, but there is something that is requiring willpower right now. And think of what it is. It could be a relationship, it could be a creative project, it could be trying to get something accomplished that you have never done before. And the angels see the way that you're trying to focus on, how do I bring self discipline in? How do I recognize my gifts? And how do I allow the world to see my gifts? So, a lot of times we don't give ourselves credit for how powerful we are. And this is what the angels are wanting you to do right now. Thank you for putting that in the comments. I love it. Yeah, so let's definitely encourage ourselves, focus on the positive, and keep going with these messages, because one of the things the angels are recognizing for you at this point in time is you're feeling really challenged to work through some kind of sadness, something sad in your life, something that needs more time to heal has been quite the challenge for you. So, what was the first thing that came to mind? Was there a disagreement? Were there hurt feelings? Was there an end to a relationship, some kind of job loss? Are you recognizing that it is time to move away from something? I know a lot of people that are choosing to change careers, they're choosing to move, they're choosing to end relationships or leave an organization. That's been a big one. Maybe you've always gone to the same church for the last 20 years and you're realizing you don't feel like you belong there. And something hurtful has come up that needs time to heal. And the angels have guidance for you around that, but just take note of what first came up for you. Where has your heart been hurting lately that needs more healing? Because the angels have guidance for you on that. And it will take the self discipline of doing the work to heal and allowing yourself that time to heal, is what they are saying. So let's go on to what is unknown to you right now. Right now, there is something in your subconscious that is holding you back regarding old fashioned ways of doing things or traditional viewpoints. So, what's the first thing that came to mind for you there? I just gave that example of maybe always going to the same church every time, ever since you were a kid, or ever since you moved to a location, but you're not feeling like you belong there anymore. This could also be any organization that you've always been a part of. Maybe your heart really loved volunteering at that one nonprofit down the road, but things have changed. Maybe the leaders have changed, the policies have changed, even the motives have changed and you're realizing, I'm not in alignment with this anymore. And there's something subconsciously there triggering you to realize, I do need to forgive myself for staying in this situation, but I need to get advice on how to remove myself from that situation. So the easiest example would be, maybe you were raised in a certain type of religious background and now you don't feel like you align with that anymore. So now you need to figure out how to move yourself out of that energy in a gentle and loving way. And any hurt that came through on that, allowing that to be released, because they are wanting you to trust that you need to be able to heal this wound, but you need to be able to move on from this. So again, think of that very first thing that came to mind, where maybe doing something the old fashioned way doesn't work for you anymore. Um, okay, so let's keep going in the comments. Thank you so much. Sending so much love to all of you out there. I appreciate it. If you want to continue with the affirmations here, we will be putting more in here and I really appreciate it. And don't forget, we're going to have journaling prompts at the end, after we go over the fear versus intuition part. We're going to go into some journaling prompts that will help you with understanding the difference between fear and intuition, and also with these angel messages. So like I said, these angels are meant for you. So let's make sure we're taking the time we can to heal here, is what the angels are saying, and trusting that we're going to figure out how to move forward from this heartache by focusing on where can we open up to new creative ideas. So right now, at the time you're hearing this message, there is good news coming to you if you are willing to open up to it, if you are willing to take action on the things that your heart is asking you to take action on. Like I said, tomorrow we have this full moon. It doesn't matter if you're watching this video a year from now. The full moon is asking you to release something. So you're still being asked that, even if you're watching this a week or a month from now. What can you release that's not serving you to make room for something new? One of the things that I see a lot of people do when I have my one-on-one angel reading sessions, which, by the way, thank you for asking in the past if I have opened up new angel readings. I do have some openings coming up. But the best way to make sure you can grab those openings is to go over to my website at devonduerr.com and get on the wait list. You'll see under readings, there's a wait list button. You can put your email in there. And when you're on that list, you will be the first one to be notified. There's a group of people on the list. Everybody on the wait list will be notified first when I open sessions before I actually post them on the website to be booked. That way, if you've already been in line, you get a chance first to grab one of those time slots. So if you haven't already and you would like to book a one-on-one reading with me, go over to devonduerr.com and get your email on the wait list, and you will hear from my team when I open new sessions, because I do love doing one-on-one readings with you. I just don't always have the time, and I want to be able to offer that when I can. So that's the best way for us to stay in touch on it. But the reason that I was mentioning that about the readings is, a lot of times in the one-on-one readings that I do with people, they are still really stuck on relationships from the past. Even if they came to the reading for a career question or for a health question, there's usually something in their past, an ex-lover, a parent that's passed on that they aren't able to connect with, or maybe they're just disconnected from in this lifetime, and that's affecting everything. So here's a great reminder for you. If you find you're hurting, if you find there is something that is taking longer than you realize to heal in your life, check these 3 areas of your life. The angels always say they want you to have balance in your health and fitness, your relationships, not just romantic, but children, parent, animal, boss, colleague, friend. And then third one, career and finance, or you could also say legacy, because some people are retired or some people aren't career centered. But those 3 areas, finances, health, and relationships, is where we're always going to look to see what's out of balance. So when somebody comes to me for a one-on-one reading, that's what the angels are going to bring in. So I like to use this example. If you come to me and you say, I want to know if I'm going to get that job promotion my boss keeps promising, but the angels come in and they start talking about something going on with your spouse, then we're going to look to see what's out of balance there, because is there an energy block to you getting that promotion? Because that promotion will require you packing up your family and moving across the country, and your spouse isn't sure they're totally on board with that. You might not even be aware that you're energetically blocking the promotion itself because you haven't had that heart to heart conversation with the spouse. So at the time you're hearing these messages, think of where some relationship in your life needs to be the script needs to be flipped, or there needs to be a heart to heart conversation. But again, we're being asked to bring in that willpower. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Thank you, Larry's. Yes, my willpower is strong. We have another pocket affirmation coming up for you very soon, but I wanted to just bring that up about trying to focus on looking forward, looking ahead, not constantly reviewing the past and sitting in that spilled milk energy. In fact, if you did catch my live last Monday where we talked about 444, or did we talk about 444 last week, or is that the week before? I know one week we talked about 1111, we talked about 444, which if you're joining late, I'm currently in the process of creating an angel number series, and I'd love to hear any questions you have about angel numbers. If you wouldn't mind just putting them in the chat, in the comment section below the video instead of the chat, just so I can find them, but I will incorporate those. And if you have questions for me now, I'm happy to answer them towards the end of these angel messages, and after we talk about the difference between fear and intuition, how to know the difference, and any tools you can use to help you know the difference, because I'm all about empowering you. Oh, thank you, Larry's. Okay, so we just talked about how there's good news coming in if you will focus on the future. Please stop going back and reviewing all the things your ex did to you and how they cheated on you and all the things, and instead flip the script and say, what did I learn from that? And how am I going to use that in future relationships? Okay. And it may not be romantic. It could be anything in your life. That's what the angels are saying, is subconsciously there's something you keep reviewing, and you keep not allowing forgiveness to yourself for staying in that situation for so long. So coming up very soon, you are going to have to be very decisive about something. So they were saying right now, good news is on its way if you will open up to it. And once you open up to that, things are going to happen so quickly. You're going to have to be very decisive. But the angels want you to be creative with your solutions to that. We don't want to ignore that there are a lot of options and a lot of ways to approach something. There's always more than one way to get something done. So the angels are asking you to take all the time you need to review all your options, okay? So the easiest example would be your boss says, "Hey, I'm going to give you this promotion, but you got to move across the country." Well, I don't know. Do we want to pause, have a conversation with your spouse? Maybe your spouse needs to go to their boss and see what's available. Maybe you need to consider competing job offers. Review all your options, or say, is there a way that I could do it part-time and commute part-time? Those are the things that we want to review all our options before we immediately respond. So I do have another pocket affirmation for you to affirm this guidance coming up, but let me just check in with the guidance. Oh, good. You would like the angel numbers, Larry's? Great. Yeah. Please let me know if you have any questions. Heidi would love a book to explain, do the numbers always mean the same for all, or is it personalized? Ooh, Heidi, thank you for asking that question. I will remember to address that in the series, but I will also answer you right now. They usually have similar meanings to everybody, but they always have a unique spin for you. So that's what I want to teach you to do, is how to interpret it. So I will give you the guidance that the angels showed me around numbers, and then I'm going to give you tools to then further interpret it to your meaning to you. Because one of the things why I was so passionate about creating this journal, Book of Evidence, Proof Your Angels Are With You, is because I'm teaching you how to develop your own language with your angels and with your spiritual team. So again, that's on Amazon. It comes with a 4-part webinar that teaches you how to use it. But in the front of the book, it actually has how to use it in the book. But it comes with this video series too that I did a while back to help you get started. I used to teach in-person journaling workshops, and people would have the hardest time making that first mark in a brand new journal. So I'm always going to encourage you to do that. So I highly encourage checking that out if you want to deepen your connection with the angels and begin journaling with your angels on a daily basis so you can understand what these numbers mean to you, what these signs mean to you. So I love that question, Heidi. Thank you. I will make sure to go into deeper analysis of that in the video series as well. Blown says ended a 3-year relationship. Thankful for the blessings. I'm my condolences. That's so tough, especially when you have the tradition of being in that routine and that habit. A lot of times we stay in a relationship because it's familiar and it feels scarier to end that situation, and not just romantic, right? It could be a relationship with a friend, a relationship to a project or to a group of people, as they were saying earlier. Larry says my birthday is 4488. Does that mean something with the angel numbers? Oh, definitely. It definitely means something. 44 for me is definitely angels are with you all the time. 88 is abundance. So yeah, we will be talking more about that in that series. But yeah, I definitely encourage you to explore that more. I have a lot of sevens in my birthday, and I was even born at 7:15 p.m. So there's definitely significance to birthdays, birth times, even the address on your home it has significance. And you think you don't choose the address on your home, but there's a reason you are energetically drawn to that home. So, or even your apartment, if you rent, you could still be energetically drawn to that, choosing to lease that place because of that. All right, let's get back into these angel messages here. But thank you for the comments. Please feel free to keep asking questions. I love connecting with you this way. But going back to these angel messages that again are evergreen, they're meant for you anytime you come across them because your spiritual team made sure you clicked on this video and you were here to hear it. And we will have prompts to help you interpret them at the end after we go over fear versus intuition. The first thing, the next pocket affirmation, I easily see the truth. I easily see the truth. If you want to write that in the comments below that video, I encourage you to because of the guidance coming up here. This is one of those things that, again, sometimes the truth is revealed in a tactless way, a painful way. We learn something that comes across in a way that is painful. But the angels want us to understand that that's actually where your personal power is going to come from when you see the truth of a situation, just like in relationships where you realize you had different motives. That's another thing I'll get in my one-on-one angel reading sessions. Somebody comes to me and says, is this person the one? Are we going to end up together happily ever after married? Well, a lot of times they're ignoring a truth where there hasn't been a communication. Maybe one partner wants kids, the other one doesn't, but they haven't really been truthful about it. Maybe one partner wants to be able to move multiple times throughout their life, and the other partner wants to stay put. These are truths that need to be acknowledged because you will gain power from this truth. So if something is revealed to you or has recently been revealed, like within the last 48 hours of seeing this video, if something is revealed to you, then see that as powerful. It's giving you power, personal power to take action on what's in your highest interest. And the other thing I want to bring up is, like I said, even though these messages are timeless, they can come across to you anytime. There's still built-in energy to this video by the fact that I'm doing this live just before a full moon eclipse in Pisces. Pisces is a very spiritual energy, a very intuitive energy. So you don't have to know anything about astrology, but I do encourage you to notice any truths that are revealed to you between now and the next eclipse that is happening, or let's just say between now and the next full moon. So if you're watching this a year from now, between now and the next full moon, what is revealed to you? Because that is what full moons do, is they reveal the truth. In fact, if you've ever spent some time standing outside looking up at the moon, which I highly encourage as much as you can do, I always talk to the moon and say thank you to the angels and thank you to God for the moon. But have you ever noticed how you can see things more clearly on the surface of the moon on a full moon? It's literally revealing different dark spots and shapes in the surface of the moon. So it is literally revealing the truth of how the moon really looks. So the rest of the month, we can't always see it as clearly. So thank you for putting that in the comment. I easily see the truth. You will get so much personal power from that when it comes to dealing with people around you. So there are people in your life right now at the time you're hearing these messages that are being very frivolous with resources. So everybody always thinks money, and it could be money. There might be somebody in your life that is not paying attention to their spending habits, and it could affect you negatively. But it can also be other types of energy and resources. So you've heard that phrase, time is money. There's actually some truth in that. If somebody is wasting their time or wasting your time, that's affecting you. So let's say you are in a collaborative project with somebody and that other person is not showing up on time, or they're not doing their work to show up in the right space. That is affecting your movement forward. And this is where the angels want you to see the truth of that. Who in your life is not being responsible with their resources, and how is it adversely affecting you? Now, they're not asking us to run out and point fingers and go yell at your spouse for how much money they spent at the mall, right? They're asking you to honor that, okay, this is affecting me. So I need to see the truth of the situation. There needs to be a heart to heart conversation. There needs to be something done to set boundaries so it doesn't affect me anymore. So the biggest example that I can give from my history of working is different collaboration projects. I've started many collaboration projects over the many years. Even back, if you're new, I used to be a small business consultant. My degree is actually in accounting and business administration, a lot different from giving angel messages, right? Very different. But I spent almost 16 years doing small business consulting. And even in those years when I would do collaboratives, or I would start working with a new client and things looked really promising, I would find that things didn't always turn out the way I had hoped they would, because somebody else wasn't being using their time and resources properly. So the easiest example I could give is the old fashioned, I'm sitting down to work with a client on their tax return, and they bring in a box of messy receipts. Nothing's organized, nothing's labeled, and we have to spend hours going through it looking for it, right? Which I refuse to do. But that wasn't a good use of their time or resources or mine, because we had to reschedule. And these things could be happening in your life with a creative project. These things could be happening, even just you're not even aware of it, but people just aren't showing up on time, or they're not bringing their full intention to the table. So, what came to mind for you for those in your life that maybe there needs to be a heart-to-heart conversation? And again, it could be that it's an easy conversation. It's a spouse that just forgot to cancel a subscription, and it's like, "Hey, we need to get rid of this. We're not really using this." Or, "Hey, let's, talk about our budget," right? Those are all things that can be really positive. So we don't want to immediately point fingers, but we do want to ask that question. So that might be what's revealed to you coming up very soon. It might be revealed to you that somewhere in your life, resources are affecting you in an adverse way because they're not being properly taken care of. Okay. Another example that could be of that, in case that didn't resonate, the angel just came through and said, say this too for somebody out there. Sometimes people are too cautious with their resources. They're not really willing to invest in themselves, in their future, in their savings. So is somebody being frivolous in the sense that they won't invest? They're being too stingy. They won't set aside that time, set aside that money. So notice that if somebody's not willing to invest time in a relationship with you, that could be a red flag there, that their heart's not really in that project, in that relationship, or whatever that is for you. Or it could just be that they don't even realize they're doing it, and you just need that heart to heart conversation there. So look around for that for you. I have another pocket affirmation for you to put in the comments here for this very positive message coming in for you. And that is, I am ready. Right in the comments below this video, I am ready. Stand in your power, your personal power of knowing that any truths that are revealed to you or have recently been revealed to you are to encourage you to step into that personal power there. You are a powerful divine being. You are here because you have special spiritual gifts to share with the world in whatever way that is for you. You are highly intuitive. You are connected to your spiritual team, and you are ready. So write in the comments below, I am ready, and stand in that power as we go to more of these angel messages for you. And of course, we will be getting to the really fun topic of Is it fear or is it intuition, and how to know the difference, plus some journaling prompts for you. So let's keep diving into these messages here. The angels want you to do things that make you feel magical. And that means right now, at the time you're hearing these messages, what are some things you could do to help your environment feel more magical, to bring more magic to your day? I've talked about this many times. If you saw my live on Wednesday, we talked about what to do between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. if you wake up. And we talked about the number 333. And the reason I talked about what to do, if you missed it, I encourage you to go check it out, because there are actually reasons you are being awakened between 3 to 5 by your spiritual team. It's really, really cool. So I encourage you to go check it out. But I was telling you that one of the things I love to do to make my environment really special is to bring crystals in. And I was showing a piece of crystal that I had with me. I don't have it with me now. I was like, does anybody know what this is? And I think we figured out it was called angel light. But somebody in the comments said, oh, is that citrine? I said, no, but I love citrine. And so I wanted to bring citrine to show you. This is citrine. It's a very deeper orange. It's also tied to the sacral chakra. And as I mentioned in the live the other day, my sun sign is in Cancer. So this is actually not a surprise at all that I have citrine all over my house. I'm always attracted to it. I always go to it in a crystal shop because it also rules the sacral chakra, which is the second chakra. The first chakra is the root chakra, which is red. The second chakra is the sacral, which is orange, and is also ruled by the sign of Cancer, right? It's the nurturing. It's where we grow the babies. It's where we come up with creativity. So yeah, I had to share that with you because this is one of the ways that I make my environment magical. Now, you can do it any way you want. Oh, thank you, Larry's. You can do it any way you want. You can put on beautiful, magical music that makes you feel like you're in a movie that's magical. You could watch a movie about magical things. You could go outside to do some work and notice all the butterflies around you. You could go watch some videos that help you tap into your magical ability. So that's why they're asking you right now to really trust that if you can start bringing magic into your life right now, this is going to open up so many opportunities. I want to take a quick pause to again remind you that the pocket affirmation is I am ready, that we are talking about right now. If you want to put that in the comments. Oh, thank you for doing that before too. Hi, Shannon. Thanks for being here. Larry's, what's a good crystal for Aries? So Aries is ruled by the root chakra, rules the root chakra, which is red. So I would encourage you to see what red crystals stand out to you when you walk into a shop. Do you feel called to them? Carnelian is one of my favorite ones for the red root chakra, but carnelian is also kind of an orangey red. So you could actually say it helps both the root chakra and the sacral chakra. So I would encourage you to look at that. You could also look at red jasper is a really good one. And anything that's going to help you ground. So this could be obsidian, like all your black crystals, tourmaline, any of the crystals that are known for really helping you ground. And you can even go outside and just, if you feel called to pick up a rock that's in your yard or that it wouldn't be taking from somebody else's yard, if you feel called to pick that up, I would feel it. I would ask, is this meant to be a crystal that comes to me? Because just because you call it crystal, I mean, this is also a rock, right? So like from the outside, you would just think this was a regular rock on the outside, right? So don't think that you have to have an actual crystal. You can use the energy of a stone that you find. I've done that before. Just walking on the beach and just a particular stone just washed up and really called to me, and I brought it home with me, and I still keep it with me with my crystals. But notice what you feel in your hands too. Like I said, I received my certification to become a Reiki master. So I'm very, very aware of the energy in my hands more so than I think people who don't take the classes are. Because they just don't think it, but we all have the ability to do it. We all have the ability to use divine energy, but I notice it so much that that's how I started realizing what crystals were meant to come home with me and what were not, and what crystals were meant to be given away. In fact, we did talk about that on my show, Leading Out Loud, LOL. Last week, we talked about some really cool stuff with spiritual objects. If you want to check that out, that's on the Leading Out Loud YouTube channel. And that just a quick reminder, is now every Thursday at 1 Eastern, 12 Central, 10 a.m. Pacific. And what are we talking about this week? We're talking about ley lines and some other really cool topics like the earth chakras. Since I was just talking about chakras, we're going to talk about the chakras of the earth. Did you know that the planet Earth has chakras in certain locations? So yeah, we'll get back to that. I want to stay on the angel messages for now, but I will keep answering your questions as we go. Thank you for asking them. And if you're watching this later, please put your questions in the comments below the video. I read every comment that comes through, and I'm really grateful for them. Thank you, Larry's. I appreciate that. Expression Energy says, I just found a rock outside and it turned out to be a jasper. Beautiful. Depending on where you live, crystals could be found in your backyard. Happy hunting. I love that. Thank you for sharing that tip. You are so right. I will never forget when I was about 10 years old. I was skipping along in my backyard and I found a purple quartz. And it turns out that we live over a cavern full of crystals down the road. But somehow during the process of creating this neighborhood and having to dig down into the earth, this little quartz was found its way to me, and I still have it. I had the same happen with a quartz down by a lake once. So I completely agree. Keep your eyes open. And your team will send those to you because it's something that will help you. So if you feel called to pick it up and take it home, as long as it's not taking somebody's other property, I encourage you to do it. If you caught LOL last week, and we will be talking about this more this week, I went to Mount Shasta last week, this past June, for the Lemurian Expo with Ruben Langdon and Wendy Kennedy. It was amazing. Christopher Witecki, my colleague at Serious Joy, we went together to meet everybody and experience it. Mount Shasta is considered the root chakra of the earth. And there were some crystals that were supposedly crystals from Mount Chakra in a shop. And I walked up to pick them up and I heard my team say, don't take those. Wait, don't take those. And I don't know why they weren't meant to go home with me. Maybe they were meant to go home with somebody else, or they just weren't authentic. There was something about them that was off. So I left it. And I was really glad I did, because there's such a big difference between feeling connected to one versus not. So start checking in with that, because that's developing your intuitive abilities too. So we just did that pocket affirmation. I am ready. And let's go to wrap up these final messages here, so we can go into fear or intuition and figure out what's the difference. So one of the things that is really, oh, I'm sorry, did I check on this real quickly here? Yeah, okay. I wanted to make sure I could see your comments. We just did the pocket affirmation, I am ready. Okay. And when that's a really powerful one, but they were asking us to bring more fun into our daily life, bring more magic in, because what we're being asked to do is remember that we all have this inner magician, and we were all born with these abilities to tap in, to use divine gifts. And we can ask to use our spiritual gifts on a greater level, but we have to feel ready. So that's why we were affirming we are ready, and your spiritual team is telling you you are ready. That's why you're here being told that you are ready to take your psychic abilities to a new level, your intuitive abilities to a new level, your connection to your spiritual team to a new level. And this is going to come from falling in love with something new in your life. This could be a new home, a new relationship, a new project, and that new opportunity and new thing that's coming in for you, if you will embrace it with the love that your heart has for it, and you will trust that you are ready, it will just take off, is what they're saying. It will go to new levels. And so bring that magic in. So if any doubt comes up, you can go pick up that crystal. You can go watch that movie. You can go put on that music to raise your vibration and remind yourself that your spiritual team brought you to this video to tell you you are ready. So here's one more pocket affirmation for you. And then we'll go into actually, do we want to do we're going to do the journaling prompts next, because it's helping with the guidance. And then we'll do fear versus intuition. The next pocket affirmation for you is, I am joyful. I am joyful. So what's the first thing that came to mind for you when you heard that affirmation? Please write that in the comments if you feel called to. I am joyful. Because that embracing that joyful energy there is also going to be what helps you tap into the inner magician and raise those abilities. So one of the things that I love to do is to put on music that really makes me feel good. It really raises my vibration. Watch the lyrics of the music you're listening to. If you're starting to doubt yourself, go change the playlist. In fact, I just heard the angels say to me that someone out there listening to this needs to change their playlist. Go create a new playlist. I have a playlist on my iPhone that I literally labeled A positive. And the reason I label it A, I was going to see if I could show it to you, because it makes the playlist at the top of my, uh, you know how you can have a lot of playlists on your phone? Let's see if you can see that. So I have AA strong and I have A list and I have A positive. So it brings it to the top of the list because I have a bazillion playlists on here. But the A positive one, it's only super high vibrational music. Um, Definitely no curse words in it. Definitely no people singing it that tend to be disruptive, right? But I have like an A, my strong one. I'll put on some tough stuff. I'll put on some music that maybe I wouldn't play in the car with little kids, right? But if that's if I'm needing that energy, just really get ramped up. But the positive one is really meant to help you focus on the future. So I encourage you to change your playlists. In fact, everybody listening here, go check your playlist. um, because it is important to keep that high vibrational energy around us so we can tap into that magic, so we can feel that joy. All right. Thank you for writing that in the comments. Let me go over some journaling prompts for you. And I'm going to tell you why I have these journaling prompts for you. And like I said, you can use any journal you want, but I encourage you to write anything that stood out for you. Create your own book of evidence. If you don't have a copy of this journal, create your own, put it all in one place, your signs, your symbols, everything, and then do these journaling prompts. It'll really help you open up the guidance to understand what it's really meaning to you. I always like to say, if you don't know what a sign means, just go write it in your intuition tracker, because if you try too hard to understand what it means, you might miss other signs that are coming through. I say that all the time. Quick reminder here, if you haven't already, sign up for my free newsletter at devonduerr.com and you will get my free ebook, Is It a Sign? How to Interpret Their Meanings. And that will give you 5 questions to ask every time you think you have a sign, so you can begin developing that language. Like I said, I'm going to be creating this angel number series. So I want to hear any questions you have about angel numbers. If you'll put them in the comment below the video, not the live chat, so I can find them. But because I want you to learn how to interpret what the angel numbers mean to you. I'm going to give you guidance on what they mean for me, what the angels have mean for me, but then I'm going to encourage you to go deeper on what they mean specifically for you. So here's your first prompt. At the time you were hearing these messages, your team was talking about that some truth may be revealed to you. And we do have this energy of releasing in this built into this video, even if you watch it a year from now. So the first prompt for you to write in your journal is, what am I leaving behind that no longer serves me? What am I leaving behind that no longer serves me? So one of the examples I was giving earlier was about, do you keep reliving that past relationship where somebody cheated on you and you found out and you felt betrayed? Or do you keep reliving that time in school where your friend embarrassed you? And those things we want to leave behind. We want to say, okay, what did I learn from that? And now how can I release that? How can I heal that? How can I forgive the other person or forgive myself and move on? So what am I leaving behind that no longer serves me? That's the first prompt to help interpret this. Oh, thank you, Casglow. I appreciate it. The second prompt is, what challenging information is helping me to stand in my power and change my plans? What challenging information is helping me to stand in my power and change my plans? That's the second prompt, because remember, we had the pocket affirmation earlier. I easily see the truth. Okay, that information might be challenging to hear. It might be challenging to hear that your boss is planning to lay off some people and it means you're not going to have as much support, or new policies have been implemented that are changing your workflow. What are these truths revealing to you? Because that's where your personal power is coming from. So, what challenging information is helping me stand in my power and change my plans? Two more prompts for you because I just felt like these messages were so powerful. Let's see. Journaling prompt 3. Who around me is being frivolous with resources in a way that affects me? Who around me is being frivolous with resources in a way that affects me? Again, we were talking about somebody around you might not be respectful of your time. They might not be willing to invest time with you. So we're not pointing fingers, but we're acknowledging where someone in our life is being frivolous with resources and it's affecting your creative flow, or it's affecting the way you feel valued. So this could be, something small. Like I said, I use the example of a spouse who's forgotten to cancel a subscription nobody uses. Or it could be bigger, where you started a collaborative project with somebody, but one of the people on your team keeps showing up unprepared or keeps showing up late. So you'll know what this is for you, but ask yourself that. And then the final prompt I have for you, and I really would love to hear this in the comments, either now or later. Maybe you don't know the answer. Maybe you can come back later and comment, but I would love to hear this. What are 3 fun things I am going to do in the next week? What are 3 fun things I am going to do in the next week? So I'm giving you that week period, but it doesn't matter when you hear this video. I would love to hear what 3 fun things are coming up for you. I'm going to tell you 3 that I have planned. I'm not entirely sure that one of them is going to happen based on weather and scheduling, but I'm definitely going to be watching my daughter play volleyball. I love doing that. It's so fun. The game. I didn't play volleyball growing up, so I didn't realize how much fun it was. I played it like recreationally with people. And it was fun, but like watching the team play that's really good together. Yeah, that one went over my head till now, and now it's really fun. Also, recently I had a friend invite me to learn how to play pickleball. It is so much fun. I had no idea. I grew up playing tennis, so I was like, if I had time, I'd play tennis, not pickleball. Well, I was wrong. It's super fun. So I may be playing pickleball this week. It kind of depends on my schedule, but that's the second thing. And then the third thing that I'm definitely going to be doing, which I love doing, is content creation. So I told you I'm going to be creating this angel number series. I've already started on it. And I'm going to be going through some of the really popular angel numbers out there, talking to you about what they mean and what my team has told me they mean. Because what's interesting is when you talk to different intuitives, everybody has a slightly different interpretation of what a number means. So I'm going to share what it means for me, and then I'm going to encourage you to dive deeper and see what it means for you. Is it similar? Is it a little bit different? And so please ask me any questions because I'm going to be working on that really as soon as we get off of this live today. How are we on time right now? Okay, good. We're doing really good on time here. So those are your journaling prompts there. Oh, I love seeing that. Mary said she's going to paint pictures. Oh, I love that. Do you do intuitive painting? I learned intuitive painting back in, was it 2016, maybe 2017? And ooh, my clairvoyance went through the roof. I mean, I was already having visions. I mean, I'd always gotten things through dreams. I'm a very vivid dreamer. But when I started doing intuitive painting, oh my goodness, I would turn on music, I would sit and make it my sacred space and do it. And I loved it. It really opened it up for me. I probably should make more time for that as well. But that was before I started my YouTube channel. So I feel like in a lot of ways, the intuitive painting opened me up to doing more content creation. So I love it. I want to hear what else everybody else is doing. Casglow says, I get to play pickleball and see my daughter's theater performance on Saturday. Now to find a third. Ooh, I love that. Super fun. Good. I love that you like pickleball too. That's super cool. Yeah, I'm brand new to it. I did the pickleball 101 class, which was cool. It taught me how to score. But yeah, I had to go on YouTube, right? The free university. And I went to this one channel, Pickleball 101, or what is it called? Oh, it's called pickleball.com, but it's the YouTube channel, pickleball.com. And they have these really short tutorials on everything that are so good. So go check that out if you want to, because I got like little tips on how to get better. So I always watch that before we go. Let's see. Larry says, baking with my kids. Oh, how fun. Reading a good book and drawing with my daughter. Oh, so sweet. I love to do that too. I'll sit down and color with my kids. Even though they're older, I love doing that. Blondie says, ride my horse. Oh, you have a horse. I love horses. Watch my son compete in Special Olympics. Amazing. And work on the Dent Makers project. You're a dent maker. Woo! Dent maker in the house. You all know me, know my friend Chris Reck from Minnow Pontero. He's on Leading Out Loud with me. He has a program called Dent Makers that has loads and loads and loads of information. If you are wanting to start a podcast or a YouTube channel, go check out Chris Rex at Dent Makers program. So much information. He has helped me so much. He's continuing to help me so much with my YouTube channel and my content. So is April Sparks. She's there. Shout out to April. I don't think she's in the chat today, but she's often in the chat. And she's a big part of the Dent Makers program too. So yeah, isn't that fun, right? Dent Makers makes content creation fun. So thank you, Chris Reck and April Sparks. Shout out to both of you there. Let's see what else we're doing. Yeah, Blondie, I grew up riding horses. I don't have one now. My last one passed away in 2015, and just with small kids, I haven't gotten back to it. Maybe when I'm a little older. Andrea, you're an intuitive painter. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Do you share your work? Do you sell it? Do you post it online? That's so cool. Let's see. Mary said, I'm just learning, but love it. Oh, beautiful, Mary. I love it too. My grandmother didn't learn to paint until she was, I think, in her late 60s. She picked up the paintbrush. She ended up painting this gorgeous picture of my horse and gave it to me as my 16th birthday. And I talk about it on Leading Out Loud, how she came through that painting in a lucid dream and told me, get to work. And she literally was standing in front of the painting she painted. So super, super cool stuff. I'm sure you're being guided to learn it for a reason, Mary. Expressing Energy says, if you enjoy it, that's what matters. Even if it's small, don't worry about others' opinions or criticism. Just embrace what makes you happy. Yes, that's what helped me too. Expressing Energies is the intuitive painting. It was like coloring outside the lines, so to speak. And I found some cool YouTube channels again that gave me all these cool techniques. Like one of them was like using an old credit card, cutting it up and using it to like go through the paint. And there's this one woman that like she basically uses her whole wall for a canvas, and she puts on music and she dances and does it. And it's just very inspiring. Yes, Larry's Chris Reck is amazing. I agree completely. Continuing my cat puzzle, peaceful fun. Rocky, I'm doing a cat puzzle right now too. I love it. Yep, it's ongoing in there. Charlene says, my son is coming to visit me. Yay. We're doing is being blocked, but we're doing a 5-hour hike on the beach with a large group of people. Wow, that's impressive, Charlene. I love it. Have a blast. Hello, Infinitely Blessed. Thank you for joining. We just went through a bunch of amazing angel messages. I gave you a bunch of powerful pocket affirmations, and we went through 4 journaling prompts to help you understand what this guidance means for you. So if this isn't recorded, you can come back and listen, because that's what I'm doing with my angel messages now. I'm always asking that these messages be evergreen and meant for you anytime you click on them, because that way your angels and your spiritual team, who are highly efficient, will make sure this video finds you when you need to. So even if you were here for all these messages and you come across it a week from now, a year from now, and you feel called to click on it, there's more messages for you. So I gave these journaling prompts to help you understand that. So, okay, thank you. I appreciate that infinitely. Okay, so the topic for today's live, we did the angel messages, which is, like I said, the new thing we're going to be doing on Mondays is evergreen angel messages meant for you anytime. And then Wednesday, we do like a more casual coffee chat, but I am going to bring topics in, and I want to hear from you what topics you'd like to discuss. Last Wednesday, we talked about what to do if you wake up between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., because there's a very spiritual reason you're being awakened, and the number 333. And then we've talked about angel numbers in the past. We're going to be talking about that more. But I wanted to talk to you today about fear and intuition, and how do you know the difference? You've heard people talk about that gut feeling, right? So how do you know the difference between fear or intuition? I'm going to talk to you about some tools and tips for that, but also I'd love to hear any questions you have about that. And again, it would be easier if you put the questions in the comments below the video instead of the live chat so I can find them more easily, so I can always go back to them. And if there's any other topics you'd like me to address about developing your psychic abilities, deepening your connection with the angels, please let me know. One of the big things I always do is encourage you to get a journal. This is my custom journal, Book of Evidence, Proof Your Angels Are With You. I sell on Amazon. Comes with a 4-part webinar teaching you how to use this journaling method. But one of the first things you have to do is begin noticing the signs and symbols, and that will help you to determine the difference between, is it intuition or is it fear? So I'm going to start off with a fun little story. When I was in high school, I loved watching the Oprah show. And who didn't, right? But on the Oprah show, she would often have her book club, and she would talk about a book that she was really into. And I will never forget the day that she talked about this one particular book that I felt so excited that I drove straight to Barnes and Nobles or whatever bookstore was back then. I don't even know what bookstore was near me. And I bought it. And it shifted everything for me about what I now use as psychic abilities. But I didn't call it that because I wasn't raised in an environment that talked about spiritual terms like clairvoyance or being psychic or getting an intuitive reading, right? But I did always have premonitions and dreams. I worked with the angels, I worked with the animals, I used telepathy. I just didn't have wording for it. And this book didn't have wording for it either, but it did change everything. So here's the big reveal. It was this book. You've probably heard of it. The Gift of Fear, Survival Signs, and it's by Gavin DeBecker. Okay, so this was the very first time I was introduced to this idea that I was already using my intuition. Now, he goes into it differently, but one of the things I loved about it is he addresses the way that people calmly acted on their intuition. Ooh, I'm getting all the tingles up and down my back talking about this. So that's the first tip I'm going to give you. If it's your intuition, then there won't be an overly emotionally charged reaction to it. You won't be crazy excited, you won't be crazy upset, you won't be super panicky. If it is intuition, you will have a more grounded response to it. Now, it could be that your intuition is telling you there is danger, but you will notice that you feel more grounded about handling that. And that's what I like about this book is they talk about each person in this book that they talk about their stories. They almost had an out of body experience as they took action to save their own lives, as they took action on their intuition. So I used to struggle with that because I was like, okay, so you're telling me that fear is intuition. No, that's not. I mean, that title is a little gives you that idea, but that's not the message here. The message is that when you trust your intuition, it can literally save your life. But we are doing this with other things too. So I wanted to start off with that example there because it really, yeah, cascading catalyst. I'm sure you could get it in the library. My mom volunteers at the local library here and they have copies there. So definitely check it out if you're interested in it. But I've kept I had this copy. I don't know where my copy went I don't think this is the original one, but it found its way back to me. And I knew that I was meant to talk about it because it is so fascinating. This was back in like 1996 that people were talking about this thing and I just didn't have the terminology around it. So that's the first thing to know whether it's fear or intuition is what's your emotional state. If you're super angry, super happy, super whatever, you might need to go ground first. So we'll go into the tools and tips about that, but I want to check in on these comments here. Cascading Catalyst says, hello, love the topics and all the pink. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I know I felt really called to wear my pink flower earrings today. Blondie says, working on Love Day. My son believes if we all say the word love on the same day at the same time across the planet, it'll change the vibration. He said Spirit told him this. Oh, wow. When is Love Day? You'll have to keep us posted. That's beautiful. I love that, Blondie. Cascading Catalyst says, I love that saying. Took me forever to say out loud that it's psychic and stuff like that, even after I know what it was. Yes. And I don't know if we talked about that on Leading Out Loud, but I know we talked backstage about it. So on Leading Out Loud, if you're new, I do it on the YouTube channel called LOL Leading Out Loud. I do it with Chris Reck from Minnow Pontero, Scott Cruz, Psychic Medium, Christopher Witecki from Serious Joy TV, and myself, Devon Duerr. The four of us come together on Thursdays and talk about all kinds of things. But we always say we need to be recording the meetings, the backstage stuff, because some of the funniest stuff comes out there, but also interesting stuff. And we all admitted that it took us a long time to call ourselves psychics. And yet here we are now on YouTube channel calling ourselves psychics. But why? What was the energy around that and what it took to affirm it? So I think we did talk about it on one of the episodes, but it was funny that it took a while for all of us. And so really honor that for yourself. If you're struggling with it, it's okay, but know that at some point you are going to have to affirm it to really make it so. So yeah, the book sounds good. Yeah, the title's a little misleading there, right? Okay, author was Gavin. Oh, you're asking about the author? Gavin de Becker. Gavin de Becker, The Gift of Fear. Yeah, so he was on, Oprah, or I don't know if he was on, but this was in her book club back in, like 96, 97. And it's always stuck with me. It was just really interesting. You're getting the ebook now. Okay, cool. Both said that at the same time. Love Leading Out Loud. Yes. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so let's go back to how to know the difference. So we were talking about whether it's a big response. Look for a huge reaction. So I did have an incident about, I guess it was about a little over a year ago, where I was at a restaurant, and there was a loud shout from the back, and my whole nervous system reacted, and I got really upset, and I just went ahead and had my family leave because I didn't know what was going on, and there was something else happened. Like, I think somebody else in the restaurant also reacted poorly, and I saw their reaction, and they made me nervous. And I just had this instinct, like, we need to leave. Well, it turned out everything was totally fine. It was just somebody had dropped something, but it took me probably 30 minutes to really relax again after that, because my whole nervous system got so upset. And it was really hard for me to tell the difference between, okay, am I being told to evacuate this restaurant? Is something bad about to happen? Or am I just having a nervous reaction to it? And I'd never had anything like that happen to me before. That's the first time I had that kind of reaction. And luckily I was there with a really good friend of mine who is also a counselor who works with PTSD people. And she was asking me questions like, where do you feel this in your body? So that's my next tip, because she helped me identify that was fear. That was not intuition telling me to leave the restaurant. But of course, if in doubt, trust it as intuition and get out of there. It didn't hurt anybody for us to leave, right? So you do want to act on that as intuition, but I learned the difference because I know a lot of us deal with anxiety, like waking up in the middle of the night, which is another reason that I talked about that in my live last week. If you missed it, about what to do if you wake up between 3 a.m. to 5 a.m., there is a reason. A lot of times we will feel anxious during that. And in just a sneak peek, it's a lot of it. It's not our anxiety. It's the collectives, or it's the person in bed next to you. So definitely check out that video if that happens to you. There are things you can do to help that. But that's what gave me the idea to talk about this topic is, we're picking up on a lot of other people's anxieties too. And so then it gets even harder to know, is this my intuition or is it just fear and anxiety? Blondie says, don't know yet, working with dent makers to learn how to create a podcast for my son and get the message out. Ooh, I love that, Blondie. I can't wait to see what happens. That's going to be amazing. So yeah, I definitely encourage you to check in with your body. That's where I was going. So the first thing I was saying is, if you have an emotionally charged reaction, that's more likely fear, because intuition comes in subtle. In fact, this is a good reminder here. The angels are very subtle. They will not tell you what to do because we have the law of free will. So their messages are subtle. So if it's a boom, bam reaction like that and it's causing your nervous system go off, likely that's fear, not intuition, as in the example I just gave you. But of course, you can, if you feel like you need to get out of there, get out of there. The second tip is check in with your body. Where are you feeling this in your body? So that's where they talk about gut check. Do you feel it in your gut? That's also your sacral chakra area close to your root chakra. We were talking about this earlier when we were talking about citrine and crystals and all kinds of things. That we get that gut feeling, but it's a solid feeling. It's more like a knowing in your gut, if that makes sense. It's not the big butterflies like, oh, I feel like I'm going to throw up all the bubbles and everything. It's a more solid like this is what I need to do. In fact, I'm going to give you an example here that is a little sad, but we were talking about horses earlier. The horse I grew up riding, Honey, she was my best friend. I have a story time on my YouTube channel about her because she literally yelled at me, telepathically yelled at me. So you'll have to go hear that story. That's when I figured out my animal communication abilities, what they were, and how to start harnessing them. But she totally yelled at me. But later in her life, towards the end of her life, she was going downhill, and I knew the time was coming that she was going to be ready to transition. And I didn't want to do it too soon. I didn't want to help her. I told her I would help her. But when the time was right, I had such a knowing in my body from here to here that it was time, that it was like I went into autopilot and I got in the car. I called my parents to meet me at the clinic. I drove to the vet clinic where she was being taken care of, all these things to where I knew it was time. And I got there and she had been waiting for me. And I talk about that a little bit more, but she talked to me about why she was waiting for me, everything in that video. And there was just a knowing. There was no like overwhelming grief or overwhelming sobbing or overwhelming fear. It was like, no, this is the right thing to do. I know. Now, the overwhelming grief came later, right? Of course. But that's why we're talking about not having that overly charged, you know it in your gut. So check in with your body. Um, as I said with the story in the restaurant where we I ended up getting my family and friends like, let's evacuate, let's get out of here. I had so much tension in my neck and my back. I wasn't aware of it until the event was over. And my friend was asking me, where do you feel this? And it was just so tense. And I just had never I'd never experienced it. So I didn't know how to identify it. So I'm going to encourage you to identify those things. And again, if in doubt, definitely trust it as intuition and just take action to remove yourself if you feel like there's fear. But it's not always fear that we're talking about, right? Like sometimes we're talking about anxiety and we're picking up on somebody else's anxiety. So here are some tools and tips here to help you through that. And let me just check in with the comments here. Cascading catalyst PTSD has been a huge thing lately for me when I saw that FDA declined the MDMA treatment. Yeah, that does happen to me. I pick up the people things a lot. Yeah, I'm sure you're highly intuitive, cascading catalyst. Yeah. You want a horse too? Yeah. She totally, she did. You'll have to watch the video, but it's so funny. I still get like tingles or goosebumps. I think I'm going to start calling it tingles because I don't like, but that sounds kind of like something else, right? I don't like saying goosebumps because it's such a good feeling to get the affirmation, and goosebumps is supposed to be like scary, like ghosts, right? So, anyways, let's go back to some things you can do to learn the difference. So, we already talked about how to know the difference. Like usually. There's a big emotional reaction, and you can also tell by your body. Like your body will be super, super tense instead of relaxed. In fact, in this book, some of the stories talk about like they didn't feel anything in their body. They just acted on their intuition and it saved their life. Um, but again, we want to focus on there's these other smaller things that come through that cause anxiety. So I definitely encourage you, if it's possible, to go outside of the environment you are in. Maybe you can't get all the way to the outdoor in nature, but wherever you are at the moment where you're asking, is this fear or is this anxiety? Leave the room, leave the environment, go somewhere safe that you know is safe. And that'll help you ground. And the reason I say outside is because being outside can be very grounded. You can take off your shoes and walk in the grass. You can get signs from nature, from the angels. So I would definitely say a good rule of thumb is go outside, especially if you've had a really heated conversation. Um, that's one of the things they'll tell you in counseling is, especially if you're doing like couples counseling with somebody else or family counseling, they encourage you after the session to not like go right back into the car with each other or go right back to what you were doing. They encourage you to take time alone to go outside and just pause and reflect, check in with your body. So the first tip was to go outside. The second one is definitely journal. Journaling is so grounding. You're putting your thoughts, you're putting divine messages into physical form. So you're bringing things from spirit into physical form. And ask, ask. Is this real? Is this fear or is this intuition? Send me loud and clear signs if this is my intuition telling me to take action or telling me to do something, and you will get an answer. So, again, just that quick reminder, you want to develop your own symbols with your team. Check out my free ebook, Is It a Sign, by signing up for my free newsletter at devonduerr.com. Okay, the next tip to do is talk to a trusted friend. Hear yourself saying something out loud. Hear it reflected back to you. Ask your friend, okay, can you just tell me what I just told you and how it sounds? Let them be a mirror to you. Let them reflect back to you. And then you can listen to your body again. Are you still feeling tense or are you feeling that solid knowing? So talk to a friend. Another one is to check in with your heart chakra. So we've been talking about chakras on and off today, the root chakra and the sacral chakra, but your heart chakra. So this is, you will feel your heart light up with joy when it is intuition. Now, again, we just talked about not having our emotions be too big or too grand, but your heart's different because you can feel it. Does your heart open or does it contract when you think of this thing that you don't know whether it's intuition or fear? It's like, I'm getting the intuition. I just got the intuition to travel to San Francisco because I keep seeing signs for San Francisco everywhere. But is that intuition or is that FOMO, fear of missing out on something there? What is it? What is it? Fear driving me there because I'm trying to escape a relationship here, right? You want to check in. Well, what does your heart do? Does your heart get open to the idea of going um to San Francisco, or does it contract and go, I don't know if I want to do that. Do I feel resistance? Now, I want to bring in a very important thing about resistance. So, resistance can be a tricky thing. It's different. It's not fear. Resistance, a lot of times, is when we're about to go through some enormous spiritual growth and we're going to have to do a lot of work. And so we are resisting doing the work that our soul needs us to do. And a perfect example for me would be this YouTube channel and how long it took me to finally start putting the work into it on a regular basis. I was posting a video here and there. I wasn't planning. And I set a goal for myself. I think I said this in a coffee a few weeks ago, if you were there, to be vulnerable and share with you that I have a goal of monetizing this YouTube channel between now and the end of the year, which means I've got to get a certain amount of watch hours. I've got the subscribers. Thank you to my subscribers. I love you. Let me know how you're doing in the comments. I love you so much. But I also need to be working on content. Like I said, I'm working on these angel numbers. So if you are part of the Dent Makers program with Chris Reck, you know this already, right? And so you have to really focus on getting it done. And I was resisting it because it is vulnerable to get out there and make videos. It is vulnerable to put something out there that you created like your own little baby and see whether people like it or not. So that is a resistance. I was having resistance to doing the work because there was a fear of vulnerability there. Once I identified it, it shifted everything for me. And I really started to push myself in different ways. I really started to get guided. I still didn't figure out a lot of it until I met Chris Reck, who helped me realize I was missing a lot of the opportunities there. What does Chris Reck always say? Double, quadruple down on the stuff that works. Cascading FOMO. Yeah. Yeah. Where did I hear FOMO? Years ago, it was FOMO, fear of missing out. Oh, love you too, Larry's. Thank you. I relate to the resistance, and I am in debt makers too. And I keep finding myself resistant, but nonstop being called to it. Cascading Catalyst, were you here at the beginning of the messages? If not, I encourage you to check out where they were talking about self discipline. It's that plodding along, right? I'll never forget the first time I heard the example that if you sat down and wrote one page towards a book you want to write every day, in a year you'd have a 365-page book. It's that simple. So if you just sat down and spent, even 1 minute a day writing an idea down or planning out something for your content, you are making more progress than if you didn't. I talked about learning how to connect with your angels in under 1 minute a day. It's the same thing. You can literally, this is what we do in my Wednesday lives, right? We do a real short journaling, but you're actively connecting with the angels. It takes literally like probably less than 30 seconds or 10 seconds, but it's under a minute that you can create that habit and create those. And that's what we're doing here, where we're checking in. Is this fear or is this intuition muscle to get stronger and stronger and stronger? And every time you affirm that it's intuition, you are really gaining an opportunity there to understand the difference faster. So let me do one more review here on how to know the difference between, is it fear or is it intuition? And the first one is, are you having a big emotion? If it's a big emotion, even if it's a good emotion, is it big? Is it so overwhelming? Because likely that's not your intuition. Your angels are subtle. Your spirit team is subtle. They don't want to scare us, because if they get in our face and scare us, we might miss some other message, right? Because we're so distracted with the fear, like this story I shared about being in the restaurant. So check in with the big emotion. The second example was to check in with your body. Do you feel anything in your body? And where and why, and is it taking a hard time? Are you having a hard time releasing whatever that is, especially if it's a tense reaction? So those are really important there. And you have to keep asking that question. If it stays for you, is this mine or is this someone else's? But I like that tip, that if you're not sure if it's intuition or fear, go with intuition, but then ask for clarity, ask for affirmation. And here are some tools. Okay. We talked about this, but I'm going to go really fast here. Go outside, get out of the environment that you were feeling fear in, or you weren't sure if you were feeling fear in. Get all the way outside if you can, if the weather permits or the location does, but definitely get out of that environment so that you can ground. Journal. Talk to a trusted friend, ask them to reflect back to you what you just shared with them, and then check in with your heart. Does it expand or does it contract? And remember, these are not the same things as resistance. In fact, I could probably do an entirely another video in live on resistance, because I can share so many ways that I didn't realize I was having resistance. Once I identified the resistance, the path opened up, the blocks opened up. So, in fact, to those of you who are saying you feel this resistance, I want to encourage you to journal that. Write in your journal, ask your angels, why am I resisting this? And then notice what comes up for you. What do you think about? Do you have a memory from when you were a kid and you felt embarrassed? Do you have a memory of when a parent or somebody you trusted said something to you that made you feel like you weren't worthy? What are these things? And then keep asking that question over and over until you get to the bottom reason of why you're being resistant. Because, one of the things, the excuses I would make is that I didn't have time. We have 3 kids, especially when they were really young. You have very little time to yourself. I would say, well, I don't have time to do it. But you know what? I wasn't holding space. I wasn't creating time. I talked about this on my live last week too. The Miracle Morning. Have any of you heard of the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod? When I started doing that, I started holding space from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. for my creative projects, for my meditation, for my journaling, for my visualizations and affirmations. And it shifted everything for me, because my kids didn't get up till 6. So I had perfect quietness. Now you might immediately think, well, that's way too early. I'll be exhausted. But what's interesting is that I actually started looking forward to it. After I got in the habit, I did a 30-day challenge. It's the Miracle Morning 30-day challenge with Hal Elrod. I did that back in 2016, I believe. And it turned into a treat. Like I looked forward to getting up and having that time to myself. And it set me up for the day. My whole day would be lighter and smoother, and just everything was easier. And it was actually during that time that grandma came to me and told me get to work. And that other video I have about leaving my accounting and small business consulting practice to become a full-time angel intuitive. So, anyways, I hope that was really helpful there. And, if I were your big sister, if you're seeing this video now, then you are here to hear these messages. And I would tell you start working on these tools. There's the difference between your intuition or fear. I am so grateful you guys are here in the chat. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. Like and share this video if it resonates. Wednesday morning, we're going to be doing the coffee journaling where I have my coffee. Sometimes I've already drank all my coffee, but we sit and we do a more casual chat. I do share angel messages and journaling prompts, but we talk back and forth a lot. I don't know what the topic's going to be yet. Do you have a topic you want me to talk about? Like I said, one of the fun things I'm going to be doing this week is creating that content for angel numbers. So let me know in the comments below this video if you have any questions about angel numbers or any other question you have about using your psychic abilities. You are a natural born intuitive. That is why you are here. That is why this video found you. Thanks so much for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.